This week we're going to be discussing the movie Time Bandits, the 1981 Terry Gilliam film. Terry Gilliam, of course, was a member of Monty Python, the comedy troupe, and produced various other movies and directed various other movies, including 12 Monkeys and Brazil, both of which got a great deal of success. Other Monty Python movies, Monty Python figures, are also in this movie. Perhaps most notably, Michael Palin, who has a sort of running gag with actress Shelley Duvall in several of the scenes. This movie is notable on several different levels. It comes from a simpler time when you could have slapstick with a bunch of dwarves on the screen without having someone scream foul for politically correct reasons. It's notable on its individual merits. It stands alone as a humorous fantasy film. But it's also worth noting that there's a strong satirical element and a strong parody of other fantasy films that runs through it. Compare the premise of this story to the premise of The Hobbit. In both films, you have a group of dwarves who have acquired a map, who are going to a place of terrible evil to ransack a treasure, who acquire a small humanoid. In The Hobbit, of course, this is Bilbo Baggins. In this movie, it's Kevin, along their travels. So, you see a lot of things that are functioning on somewhere on the spectrum of parody or satire throughout this film. Individually, as a sort of standalone fantastic film, there are quite a lot of things that are going on that are humorous in and of themselves. The portrayal of Robin Hood, or more accurately, the portrayal of Robin Hood's merry men, was something that has always struck me as being very funny about this film. And John Cleese's sort of, question to Marion, is that really necessary? When Marion and Little John are bashing the hell out of the poor people when they accept the treasure, just always has struck me as being very, very funny. But then again, I've been accused of having some problems. Other things, Napoleon Bonaparte, Sean Connery's portrayal of King Agamemnon. These are also very, very funny elements of the film. In particular, evil and the evil segment it has always struck me as being one of the sort of crowning achievements of this movie. And the fact that Evil's castle, as it turns out, is made out of Legos was perhaps the most subtle joke in the entire film, and something that I'd forgotten was in there until I rewatched it for the class today. Many times in humorous fantasy, you find that the fantasy element really takes a secondary role or a back seat to the humor that's contained. As an example of this, I would point to a very, very funny movie, which is Monty Python's Holy Grail. But it as a fantastic movie, it kind of could be said to fail in a lot of ways. It's a very funny movie, but as a fantastic movie, the fantasy elements are just thrown in as sort of a backdrop. Very often in fantasy movies, humor is used as an element to reduce tension or as dramatic relief. What I think is kind of unique about Time Bandits, and one of the reasons that I put it on our reading list, is because it is both a fantastic movie and a humorous movie without sacrificing one to the other. And I think that this is one of Gilliam's strengths as a filmmaker, is creating films like that. If you enjoyed this movie, please take a look at Brazil. Brazil is a dystopian science fiction movie, and it's very, very interesting in its own right because of that. Thank you very much, and I will talk to you again next week.